Welcome to Gospel Truth with Andrew Wommack, a teaching ministry that focuses on God's unconditional love and grace. And now, Andrew continues teaching from the life-changing Word of God about making sense.
Welcome to our Wednesday's broadcast of the Gospel Truth. We're nearing the end of our teaching that I've been doing with Paul Milligan. He's the CEO of our ministry. He's also the head of our business school at Charis Bible College. And he has developed this software entitled Making Sense, C-E-N-T-S, and it is powerful. You know, I teach about trusting God in your finances, giving, putting God first, the promises from the Word of God, and my emphasis is primarily on giving and operating in faith for a return. And that is important. I'm not backing off of that one bit. But you also need the other side of the coin. You need to be able to manage your money. And this is what Paul brings to the table. And this software that he's got is just excellent on that. So Paul, without me introducing it anymore, it seems like we spend so much time talking about everything. I want you to get back into your software, and you might give them a brief recap about what this software does before you get into today's stuff.
All right. When we started out, I really encourage the people that are watching today, go back and watch the programs that we archived from last week.
They can go on our website.
On our website and look at that in our archive programs. Because the first thing you do is you create what we call a profile. And basically what that is a complete picture of your finances. And so it takes you about 2 hours to go in and set up your profile. And basically the way you need to think about a profile is you're informing the software of what your financial condition is so it can help you improve that financial condition. So that starts with your profile. Now once there's all categories in your profile. You tell it how much income you have. You tell the software how much you're spending on housing, what you're spending on food, clothing, and so on. So you got all these categories that you do that with. Then you create what we call the My Spending, and that's what we're looking at on the screen right now. And this tells you where my arrow is, shows you gross earnings, and then it shows you tithes and taxes. Now the reason we put tithes and taxes up here, you and I have already talked about this, so I don't want to go over it again. But the most important thing you can do from your gross income is pay God. That's the most important thing you can do.
And we aren't minimizing that, but we're just saying that there's more to it than that.
More to it than that. And the next thing is taxes, because if you don't pay your taxes, you're going to have an issue with the government. So then the last thing here is what we call EAT income, earnings after tithes and taxes. And let's look at this household. This particular household has $5,609.50 left over after tithes and taxes. Now, when I scroll down, what we're scrolling through here is what you've told the software you're going to spend on these categories over here. Auto, housing,
now,
utilities.
Does this include things like going out to eat or,
yes,
or any extras?
Yes, and entertainment here, it includes that, and it explains this when you go through the profile. Household supplies, gifts given, retirement savings, there's debt down here at the bottom. Look, here's health and personal care, haircuts.
Oh, so that nails, includes everything.
Everything. If you've got a category that's not here, write us an email and tell us, because we will include it in here. So everything we think is included. So if you back here, $5,609 is what we've got left. Look at what we've told it we're going to spend, $55.55. So this household's only got $100 a month left over. So then let's go down to where we are in our series of programs. We've already done Spend Tracker, Check Register. Spend Tracker, if you'll remember, was the one with the color bars.
Yeah, that tells you whether you're on track or not.
Yellow is caution, red is you've overspent, green is you're okay.
And it does it on a daily basis instead of waiting until the end of the month.
Listen, what I encourage people to do, especially when you start this, do your check register every day, because that will keep your spend tracker updated. It tells you exactly where it's at. The next thing is the check register itself, and this is just like the checkbook you carry around. You put if you write checks or use your ATM card or whatever, it records that. It records your income and keeps track of those things.
It has a place for cash sales too?
Yes, absolutely. Here's what I tell people.
How do you keep track of cash?
I tell people, you go in a convenience store and you buy a soda pop or something, or just get used to asking for the receipt. And what I do is I put the receipts in my console, and then I'll take them out, and that way you can add them in here. And there's a place in the check register. We called it a check register, but you can use things like receipts and other things to input what you've spent. The key, here's the bottom line: keep track of what you spend, whether it's cash or otherwise.
I would suspect that people spend a lot of money that they don't keep track of, and they may think, I don't have any extra money, and they could come up with an extra $100 if they just cut out some Starbucks or
Very good
something.
point. You know, we made that point last week. I told about the girl that had the Starbucks cup, and she ended up having $120 available if she just quit going to Starbucks. Look, I know some people may argue with us about this. The money is there. Because there's just so many things you could do. It's exactly right.
Man, if being out of debt and serving God and stuff is a priority, you can come up with money.
And I'll tell you that, and I'll get to this in a little more detail later, but a lot of people have assets that they don't know they have. I've got an example of a couple. This is amazing, because they heard me say this, and they took this to the nth degree. I said, go clean out your storage shed. Go get the stuff out of your attic and put it on eBay.
I thought of that last week when you were saying some stuff, that would be one of the assets that if they were just to have a garage sale.
Yes.
Man, they could probably come up with hundreds of dollars.
Yes. This guy, he sold his golf clubs. He told me you said, well, I'm not going to sell my golf clubs. Well, then how important is this to you? And they did this. It is amazing how far down the road it got them. They were able to pay off about 20, I think he told me about 20% of their debt immediately just from selling the stuff they had sitting around their house.
That's huge.
I mean, it was huge. Now, he had some equipment that he sold, so I don't want to give people the wrong idea that you can sell trinkets and do that. But people have more assets than they think they have. And so you just got to think about what you have. So we looked at the debt tracker. The debt tracker is just where you tell the software how much debt you're in. You list your debts, your minimum payments, your balances, your interest rates. That's kind of what that is. Now here's where we are today. This is called the debt eliminator. Now this thing, I want to spend a little time because I want to make people make sure they understand this. So the first thing you're going to do, right where my arrow is, it says set start date. What that means is you need to make a decision, what date am I going to start paying my debt off? Okay, and let's just pick, for demonstration purposes, let's just do August the 1st. This is 2017, okay? Now, look down here at the bottom for a moment. We'll go back up there. But here's the debt that this home has. 2 credit cards, a car, and a home. Now, a lot of people have a lot more debt than that, right? Or some have a lot less than that. But we have the debt, and this is populated from the debt tracker back there. That's where this comes from. So here's the interest rate on that debt. Here's the minimum payments that are being made. And here's something called fast track, and I need to explain that. Up here, go back up here at the top where that 10 is, okay? That's called fast track amount. All right, remember what we said early on in the shows about you're never going to pay your debt off unless you can affect the principal. You got to start paying the principal down, so you're not only reducing your debt, you're reducing the amount of interest you're paying on the principal.
So you're going to have to go beyond just the minimum payment.
Minimum payment, look. There are I can prove, there are credit cards that if you have a $10,000 balance on, the interest rate is so high that you actually cannot pay them off in a normal lifetime. 50, 60 years. It's just ridiculous.
Say this again, $10,000 if you make minimum payments?
You make minimum payments, it can take you decades to pay those things off at 18 to 20%.
That's terrible.
First time I saw that, I'm going, that cannot be true. But we went and did the math when we redid the software.
So is this compounded interest or what?
Oh yeah, it's horrible.
That's terrible.
And Andrew, I believe something that a lot of people won't agree with me about. But I don't believe as Christians that we can charge interest. I think it's usury. I think 1% is usury. Now that's okay if people don't agree with me about that. And it's not sin. We've said this a couple of times. It's not sin to borrow money, and it's not sin to pay interest. But I have loaned money, I've given away money, I've never charged interest, and I never will, because I don't think it's scriptural.
Yeah.
Because here's why I don't think God allows it, because it's a mechanism of bondage. Perpetual bondage, not bondage for 2 weeks, it's from now on. So I believe that's what we're looking at here. So let me go back up here. The fast track amount, here's what that is. It's the amount of money that we're going to pay on our debt that strictly goes to principal.
So this is above any minimum payment.
Right. So you're paying all your interest in your minimum payments. This is going to go against principal. Okay. So here's what you do. The debts here are listed from least to greatest. This MasterCard is the least debt at $2,400. The next one's $32. The car is $22,000. The house is $165,000.
So you're suggesting that you pay off the minimum
Right.
Amounts first.
The lowest one first. Let me tell you why. I didn't do that at first, and I believe God spoke to me and said, it will help people, it will motivate them if you'll start with the smallest debt. Success motivates success, and they'll get rid of the lowest debt quicker.
Yeah, if you started with your mortgage, which is usually the biggest one, you're just going to, 10 years from now, think I hadn't made any progress.
You'll quit, right. And I think another point we have to make here is there's one thing that this whole thing is relying on that you have to do. You can't make any more debt. You can't go out.
Yeah, you can't keep increasing debt.
You can't get another credit card. You can't increase debt. You can't get a second lien.
What was this example that you gave about how you keep a credit card? You use a 1 pound coffee can?
Oh, yeah. What I tell people with their credit cards, you got to start with some plastic surgery. But here's what I tell I said, get a 1 pound coffee can. If you just got to keep one credit, because this is what people tell me. This is how I came up with that. People would tell me, well, I have to have one for emergency, okay? And let me make this clear. You and I travel all over the world. We have to have a credit card or we can't even operate. But I don't recommend a credit card. Use a charge card for that, like an American Express that you have to pay off every month. So that's covered. But let's go back to credit cards. And so what I tell people is, okay, if you've just got to keep a Visa card, get your coffee can, fill it up with water, put that Visa card in that coffee can and put it in the freezer. And then if you're sitting in your living room and you just, man, I've got to have new clothes, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, and you just can't, those demons are sitting on your shoulder just talking to you about, you got a credit card.
Or if it's a legitimate something that you got an emergency.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't get to it in 5 minutes.
Right. By the time you go get that coffee can out and it thaws out enough,
you can't stick it in the microwave if it's in a metal coffee can.
That's right. It'll blow it up. So by the time all that happens, hopefully the urge is gone. The demons got tired of messing with you and they're gone. But it's just a funny thing to say. Don't allow credit cards to have anything to do with your life, and don't increase your debt, especially once you're starting paying it off.
Okay, so this is talking about above minimum payments, but assuming that you aren't increasing any more debt.
Right. Yeah. So then what are we talking about? So first of all, remember this household, they have a big whopping $100 a month left over, right? Mm-hmm. Now, here's what I would do, because here's what I recommend for the fast track amount. I recommend 10% of your EAT income. Remember, EAT income is that earnings after taxes and tithes. In this case right here, they've got $5,600. Let's just round it up. $5,600 in leftover money. 10% of that's $560. And of course, people are just going to go, oh, there's no way, I've only got $100 a month left over. You can see it right here. And so this is where I encourage people. Now's the time. You've got 100 built in. Go look for the rest of it. Stop Starbucks, sell assets, move things, sell your house, downsize, sell a car, do with one car, whatever it is you have to do, but try your best to get to that $560, okay? So for the first example I'm going to give is that 10%, okay? So if you go in here, this fast track amount, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put $560 in that fast track amount. Right over here to the right, there's a button that says calculate. Now what I want you to watch is this date right here, okay? That's debt-free date. There's a special algorithm set up in this thing where it automatically calculates what it's going to take to pay this debt off.
All right, so let me ask, this $560 that you just put in, they only have $100 left.
Right. Yeah, so I talked about, I'm going to use this as an example. I know people are going to say, there's no way I can do that. But I'm suggesting that, it's like we talked about, stopping at Starbucks, doing whatever you got to do to try to get to that 560. I'll deal with the 100 here in a moment, okay? So then here's what you're going to do. You're going to take this 560 and you're going to add it to the minimum payment down here on just this MasterCard. Forget about the rest of the debt for a moment. We're going to pay this MasterCard off. The minimum payment's $96. So we add $560 to $96. This $560 to this $96 gives us, when I calculate it, will give us this fast track amount over here. Now I'm going to calculate right here. Now look, that 500 went right here. Now it's $656. So then once this is paid off, See, it says the payoff date here will be 2/28 of 2025, which is 7 years. Okay, so if you look right here, once it says it's going to take us 8 months to pay that MasterCard off at $656 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's the payoff date that you'll get the MasterCard. Then that $656 is added to this $128 on the next credit card, which is a Visa. So you take your fast track amount, now you got $656. You add it to $128, it's $784, and that's paid off in 7/31/2018. You take the $784, add it to $625, it's $1,409, 12 months to pay it off, 7/31/2019. Then here comes the biggie. $1,409 added to the mortgage payment of $1,191 gives you $2,600. 67 months later, you're out of debt. And I'm telling you, the times and I use this maximum at 7 years, people, they start doing this and 7 becomes 5. And I'm not even trying to explain how that happens. It's almost just a spiritual, like we talked about earlier. There's this acceleration that God does. But here's what really happens. People start making the adjustments that are necessary to get their finances in order.
And also the Lord sees that you're serious and that if you're doing what you can do, He'll supernaturally give you things.
He will.
You know, we just had one of our employees that their basement flooded.
Right.
And they were going to pay $1,600 to get the water extracted, and they had already written the check, and when they gave it to the guy just said, "Are you a Christian?" And they said, "Yes." And they said, "God told me to give this to you." And they just had $1,600 worth of work given to them. And
right.
God does things like that and these people, you know who I'm talking about, they are givers.
They are givers.
And because of it, God multiplies things.
Yes, sir. And there's just this, a lot of people want, if you're going to focus on just the natural, then this will seem hard and it will also seem like it's not going to work. And that's why we keep making this point, because this has everything to do with God and very little to do with the natural of what you see right here. But I want to show you something. Now when I first do this, a lot of people say, "How is that possible?" But trust me, the math is right in this thing. We beta tested this thing for a long time. But I want to show you something. Let's just say you just can't do it. You can't get to the 560. You can't get to 300. You can't get to 200. You can only do that $100 a month. Okay. So I changed 500 to $100 a month. All right. Now, watch this date right here, okay? 2/28/2025, which is 7 years. It's actually less than 7 years. But I calculate, and it went to, look at this, it only went 1 year. It only took 1 year more.
At $100?
At $100.
Instead of $560.
That's right. And so the first question, I know, the first thing that happens in your brain is,
that doesn't make sense.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
Here's why. Because if you look right here, your $96 a month minimum payment, you add 100 to it, you got $196 per month, 14 months to pay it off, 9/30 of 2018. So you add the 196 to the 128, you're at 320. There it is. And you can go, I mean, anybody can do the math. I know it doesn't make sense, but here's really the principle we're looking at right here. Just pay something on the principal. And it will start reducing it, the interest starts reducing, and it just doesn't take that much longer. This process, if you go back to the 560, that process, we went from February 28th of 2025 to December. So it's almost 2 years that it adds on to it, a year and 7
Yeah, but that's amazing.
7 or 8 months. And so this is what I tell people. Here's what God is really saying. Just do something. Just put your faith out there and do something. Stop making debt and start working toward the goal. And I guarantee you God will get involved, and this 6 or 7 years will turn into 3 or 4 or 5. I've seen it happen over and over again.
Kind of like that old statement about how to eat an elephant. One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
You'll choke if you try and do it all at once, but you just start doing something, God will multiply.
Right. And so, here's the other thing I want to point out. So then, at the end of the mortgage, once this is paid off, let's say we're at this date in the future, but look what we have now. Now we've got $2,140 a month that's totally free, okay? So
that's once you get your mortgage paid off.
Once you get everything paid off. Even before you get your mortgage, paid off, your income is starting. And here's the other thing I want to point out to people. During this period of time, people's incomes should increase. If you're believing God and you're doing the things we're talking about with your money, your income is going to increase. And that's really, to be honest with you, I've studied this with some people that are close to me and how they've done this. And really, it was the increase in their income, and they were disciplined enough to apply it to their debts. Why this 6 years became 3. Because God increases them because of their faithfulness, and boom, now they've got this income and they can pay more than what I'm putting in here. That 560 today, to most people that are watching us, that seems impossible. If they'll do this 2 years from now, that'll be $1,500, and it won't be any big deal.
Yeah.
It'll be no big deal whatsoever. But what are you going to do now? Once you've done everything, okay, what do you do with the 2140? And that's where I want to go next. And so I want to show this next category up here in this is called, I can do this quick, more tools. Well, what I want to show is what's possible.
The point we're trying to get across is that, this is doable for every single person. And I think it's more doable than what you realize.
All right, so if they look at their screen right quick, I'm going to have to do this quickly. This is a retirement calculator. And then I'm only going to do 2 of these, the retirement calculator, and then over here one is called investment income. So if you go to this tool, I want you to see this. So here's what this thing does. You tell this retirement calculator right here, when I retire at 65 years old, I want $80,000 a year in income. That's a pretty good amount.
Yeah.
Let's say this person we use in here is 35 years old. So let's say you got 30 years to invest, okay? And so the 6% return, which is not difficult to get. So here's what we're doing. We're saying we want $80,000 a year when we retire at 65, that's 30 years from now. And we want a 6%, we're going to get a 6% return. Let's calculate that. Here's what happens. At the end of that 30 years, you'll have $1.3 million in the bank, and you'll have the monthly, this tells you the monthly amounts you have to put away today to get there. You got $2140 left over from paying all your debt off. It only takes $1320 to get this retirement set up at $80,000 a year 30 years from now. On the right-hand column this is just adjusted for inflation. It assumes up here at the top 2% inflation for that 30 years, and so it gives you. Here's what this means at the bottom. If you want the same buying power 80,000 has today, 30 years from now, you got to put 2392 away instead of 1329.
Well, Paul, I think we're just about out of time today. We'll have to continue this on tomorrow's program. I got some questions on this, and we can deal with that tomorrow.
All right.
But anyway, I hope you see that, man, this makes it pretty simple, that you can just put it in there, and you can also, if I'm understanding this correctly, you can kind of dream. Maybe you don't have $560, but let's say, man, I've got $300. You could put that figure in there, and it would show you what you could do with that. It's
what I call playing what if. What if I did this?
Okay, so we're out of time today, but our announcer is going to give you information about how you can get this. You can not only get Paul's materials, but I've got this book entitled Financial Stewardship that we're offering you, and I believe that these are going to help you. If you follow these guidelines, I believe God is going to prosper you. Join us again tomorrow for the Gospel Truth.
Since the filming of these programs, the Making Sense teachings on the USB drive have been updated. This update includes changing the name to Basic Sense. The updated Basic Sense financial teaching from Paul Milligan is available in audio and video teachings on a USB drive. When you order this teaching, you'll also receive instructions to register for 6 months of free access to the online money management program, also titled Basic Sense. The Basic Sense online money management program will help you eliminate debt, establish a spending plan, and develop a monthly spending report. With this tool, you can become debt-free, and most can experience financial freedom in just 7 years. Make sense of your finances and contact us today to order Basic Sense for just $149. Or for just $20 more, you can get the Basic Sense package. This package includes the Basic Sense USB teaching with 6 months of free access to the Basic Sense online money management program, along with 2 of Andrew's books, Financial Stewardship and Living in God's Best, as well as Andrew's teaching titled, What's in Your Hand on CD and DVD. This package has a catalog value of $200.99, but you can get it today for just $169. Make sure to get the Basic Sense package when you contact us today. You can order resources or become a Grace Partner by visiting our website at awmi.net or call our helpline Monday through Friday from 4:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. Mountain Time. Our number is 719-635-1111. To write us, use the address on your screen. We'd like to point out Andrew's upcoming speaking schedule. Mark your calendars to come meet Andrew at one of these events. In the month of January, to welcome in the new year, Andrew will be in Glendale, Arizona for the annual Phoenix Gospel Truth Conference. In March, he'll be at the Sanctuary in Woodland Park for the annual Charis Bible College Men's Advance with special guest Tony Dungy, New York Times best-selling author, NFL Hall of Fame and Super Bowl winning coach, and James Brown, Emmy Award-winning broadcaster on the CBS and NFL networks. Also in March, Andrew will be in Portland, Oregon, and will be hosting a special Easter season production titled God With Us at the Pikes Peak Center in Colorado Springs, Colorado. God With Us is the original love story of a passionate God on a relentless quest to rescue His people. For more details on Andrew's next meeting in your area, visit our website at awmi.net.
Hello, this is Andrew Wommack, and I'd just like to encourage you to pray about giving and helping us to complete the construction up in Woodland Park at the Sanctuary. You know, between now and the end of the year, all of your gifts that you give will go on the 2017 tax year. And I'd just like to encourage you to participate and give and become a part of this. Your year-end giving could make a huge difference in what we're doing. We are about $9 million away from having our auditorium completely finished, but we just need your help. So pray about it. I encourage you to join us, and you will be blessed by the Lord 100-fold in this life.
The construction at Charis Bible College is all about transforming lives, developing leaders, and changing the world. You can give a tax-deductible year-end gift by going to awmi.net or calling 719-635-1111. Thank you for caring about the message of God's unconditional love and grace. The Ministry Training Program is designed to help Charis Bible graduates identify and be equipped in their calling in one of our 7 distinctive schools and our leadership program. The Charis Bible College Business School exists to instill sound business principles in the body of Christ and populate the body and the marketplace with effective, well-financed ministry. For more information, visit charisbiblecollege.org.
Hi, I'm James Brown. Men, I'm inviting you to come to the 2018 Men's Advance at Charis Bible College. Andrew Wommack, myself, and Hall of Fame coach Tony Dungy will be speaking on how to win from within and to train for greatness. You won't want to miss the 2018 Men's Advance. Andrew, Tony, and I want to see you there.
The 2018 Men's Advance, March 8th through the 10th. Register at awmi.net/events.